All right, everybody. Thanks for once again joining us here for Free Comic Day Online. Francis, how you doing? Brian, good to see you. Stephanie, hey, Stephanie, we miss you. Good to see you. So we are just about ready to go here with Dan Parent from Archie Comics. We'll be bringing him on in just a second. I know a lot of you guys have been looking forward to chatting with Dan today. We certainly have as well. We just want to reiterate with you the schedule for today. It's now 1 o'clock. We're going to go ahead with our Dan Parent Archie Comics Die Kitty Die time slot here. And then coming up at 2 o'clock, we've got a graded comics sale at 3 o'clock. We're going to have Agnes Skarbowska in the house. We've got our key issue and variant sale part 2 at 4, Marcus Toe at 5, and then our wrap up at 6 p.m. with a J. Scott Campbell and Art Germ sale. So lots still to come. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Just a couple of quick notes. Again, if you're interested in the free comics at all, check out our website. The first featured item there are your free comic books. We do require that you have to make a purchase, unfortunately, with any free comic, just due to the All right, sorry about that. We are just going to go ahead and get the video started. And we've got a lot of stuff to show you when we're talking with Dan. We're really excited about, and I know you guys are really excited about chatting with Dan as well. So let's bring him on in. Ladies and gentlemen, from Die Kitty Die and Archie Comics is Mr. Dan Parent. Dan, how are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? I'm good. Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being a part of this. I know it was a probably weird request when we sent it over to you. Like, hey, do you want to be a part of a virtual free comic day event?
Well, that's the only way we can do them. So
strange times, right?
It is strange times. Yes, that's
desperate
for sure.
Times call for
we'll muddle through
for desperate actions.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So Dan, obviously you've got a very storied career that we'll talk about, working with Archie Comics and of course Die Kitty Die, which your Kickstarter for the latest version of that just ended. Do you want to talk a little bit about Die Kitty Die and what's in the pipeline for that?
Yeah, well, it was our fourth Kickstarter, Fernando Ruiz and mine. And fortunately, it was our most successful, which is great because, it was kind of hard to tell how things were going to be economically right now, whether people had extra money.
Right.
But people are saving money by not going to conventions. We found that out. So
that's true.
You do a little extra spending money in that way. But no, we hadn't done a Kickstarter in a couple of years, so this was the first one in 2 years, and it was just great. We're going to be doing the 4 issues of Die Kitty Die Starstruck, which will be the next series where Kitty's in outer space, and then we've also funded a Jetta book that we'll be working on.
Awesome.
One shot. We're going to do that too. And we funded some other cool things like a slipcase for the hardcover books. A few extra things for the fans. So yeah, that was really great. It ended last week. Now it's doing a little bit of breathing right now, relaxing until I got to start sending out the surveys and all that stuff. That fun stuff. So, but no, we're happy to do it and happy that people are supporting it because it's a difficult time, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it is a difficult time for all of us involved in the comic industry. But it's been super, super motivating for us as retailers, and I'm sure for you as a creator, just the overwhelming amount of support that's been out there from the comic fans and how supportive they've been, because we know they're all having a challenging time as well. The situation isn't ideal for any of us,
right?
But it speaks volumes to the sheer generosity and enthusiasm of the fan base, that even during these crazy times they're willing to support folks such as yourself and folks such of us. So really, really awesome to see.
Absolutely. It's great. We've seen such a spike. Archie has seen a lot of website traffic in the last few weeks, just because more people are home. And it's been pretty encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, Archie books for your kids, your tweens, your teenagers. If you're looking for something for them to do when they're not in their online classrooms at home, Archie books are a great way to pass the time.
Right.
Dan, I just want to point out to everybody that we got links up on the screen there for danparents.com and diekittydi.com. Those are your online stores, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So people can grab if they missed out on the Kickstarter.
They can grab previous issues of Die Kitty Die, previous items, like we have a kitty statue. They can grab that. And then in the next couple of days, we're going to be putting up an online store for the items that were in this Kickstarter. So they can get if people miss the Kickstarter, they can go online to diekittydi.com and they can find items that they can purchase that they weren't able to get on the Kickstarter if they didn't have the time to go on.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm just showing up on the screen here some stuff from the Die Kitty Die shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got some mystery boxes and stuff available there.
People love those. Yeah.
Wow, we're gonna get 25 books for that's crazy. It's
crazy. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we saw a lot of those.
I bet. So awesome. Yeah, you're finding lots of ways to keep busy. One thing that I wanted to share with people as well that you've been doing, and I'm sure that with conventions not happening like they normally do, I would assume a big part of your in your convention business when you're at a show is people requesting themselves drawn as Archie characters.
Right.
How many of those do you estimate that you've done over the years?
Oh my God, hundreds, at least hundreds.
So there's a really cool thing, and I'm really sorry to interrupt you there, Dan, but we'll bring this up and then we'll chat more about it. A really cool thing on the Archie website right now is there's Dan, and you can order some custom artwork from the Archie site.
You can go on. You can order. There's different ways you can do it. You can order an Archie-fied version of yourself. We just added the option to do 2 people, because a lot of people like to do it with their friend or their spouse. So we've added a 2-person option. And then we also have the option just to get Archie headshots. Like you can get an Archie shot of Sabrina, so you can get those done too.
That's really cool.
And it has been ridiculously busy. Like Archie just kind of came up with the idea as they were like, conventions are down, and this will be something to keep you kind of busy. And it's been like every day, it's like some days I wake up in the morning and there's, oh my God, there's like 12 more to do. Like, it's crazy. So I'm not complaining. It's really good to be busy.
No, of course not.
And it just, and then now people are starting to share them online. So
like
share them, and then someone else sees it and they're like, oh, I would like that done too. So it's good. It's good. I have a feeling this will keep me busy this summer. So
awesome. I just posted the link to it in our comments feed too. If anybody's interested in grabbing a custom piece of Archie work from Dan Parent or have them themselves archified, you'll see the link down there to make that happen. So that's really cool. And another one of the ways that creators and publishers are like coming together to figure out different ways to have a stream of revenue during a time when the comic industry is essentially shut down.
Yeah, it's a weird time because a lot of the publishers are just not publishing while comic shops aren't going. Archie stopped there. Archie isn't. We're not doing our 32-page books right now, but we're still doing the digest because the digests still are in like newsstands.
Right.
So we are still working on the digest still, but we're getting ready to do the 32s again. That'll we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that'll be happening.
Awesome. We got a question coming in from YouTube. They're saying they're glad to see us working together. Mm-hmm. First time we've worked together online, I guess in public, but we've worked together on a couple things in the last little while. And they mention it here is one is the what if Betty had found the hammer of a thunder god?
Yes.
And then on our Super Duck
yes.
variant as well.
Yes.
So this one is actually a really hard one to get a hold of. It's sold. I don't think we have copies of it online. It's sold out online. So
wow.
it was really, really well received. But Super Duck's up on our website. You can find that on there. And just a quick word that some of the stuff that Dan's worked on that we have covers on are available in our Archie collection on our website, stadiumcomics.com. If you go down to the bottom of the screen, there's an Archie sale down there, and stuff that we've got homage covers on that Dan's worked on, and some stuff that has some of Dan's interior art in it as well is available there for purchase. So go and check that out. But Dan, how did you get involved with Archie in the first place? How did that all come about?
It all started. I went to the Joe Kubert School, mm-hmm. Way back when, 35 years ago. I started there, and 36 years ago. And then my third year of school, it's a 3-year school. Victor Gorelick, who at the time was the editor at Archie Comics,
right?
Who sadly just passed away this year, which was kind of rough for all of us in the industry because Victor had been with Archie for like almost 60 years. It's crazy. Actually, it was more than 60 years. He was like 63 years, I think. It's crazy. Oh, wow. But anyway, 30 years ago, when he was the editor, he came in and was looking at portfolios at the Kubert School. They're looking for new talent and trying to see who's interested in Archie and who wants to work there. And I was an Archie fan and I wanted to work there. And I had actually interviewed there a couple of times before and got rejected in my earlier years of the school. So, but I kept trying, I kept plugging away. And then third year, my work had improved to the point where he actually gave me a few like simple jobs, simple one-pagers and gag pages and stuff. So I actually started to get some work when I was in my third year. And then graduated, and then upon graduation, they basically had a spot to fill up in the Archie art department. So I was more than happy to take it, and started working freelance at night and working on production during the day, and that never stopped working for them since.
Wow. So like somebody just mentioned in the comments too, like Dan rejected? No way. Like, yeah. How did you persevere through that rejection and press forward?
See, I was around 20 years old then, so right. When you're in your 20s, you're supposed to get rejected. I mean, there's a few fortunate few of us who got work like the minute they got out of school or got into school, but most of us know that there's you have to have a pretty thick skin if you want to like be in this industry. So,
right.
But yeah, I went up, I think it was like it may have been first year of school, but I know I definitely went up to Archie's second year. And he was like, it's okay, but you just need more work. So I just persevered, and my work improved a lot as when you're going to art school, like especially a school like the Kubert School, because the work is so intense.
Right.
We all improved drastically, the ones of us who can stick it through. And it just worked out. It just, I was not, wasn't expecting it. I was like, I'll just take whatever work comes my way. I wasn't picky. I wanted to work in comics, but I was like, I'll go whatever route gets me there. It just was lucky. It was a combination of, good timing and maybe my work being improved enough to get in, of course. But, it's things like this happen. It's a combination of things.
Right.
And at the time, that was a time when Archie was publishing probably 25 titles a month. So they were putting out so much work that they needed the help.
Sure. And when growing up, were you an avid reader of Archie?
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up, a big Archie fan as a kid. Big Harvey Comics fan. If you can see from my shirt, Harvey Comics. So
Yep.
big Harvey fan. Then around 8 or 9, like most kids, I got into the superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But still always sort of fell back to the Archie stuff. It just always sort of, came back into my system. Like I never could get away from it because I just had this connection to it. So when I went to art school, again, I was into the superhero stuff, but most people were into that. So I sort of carved out a niche for myself to be more of a humor artist. And always sort of not that all of my assignments were Archie related, but I always kind of had that style. The style of Archie, the artwork always was a natural for me.
Right. Something about it resonated with you. And
and part of it was because, of course I grew up, as a huge Dan DeCarlo fan, and his work always stuck out to me. But I was never really I never really liked drawing super realistically, but I was never I was never super cartoony, never Disney-ish. That I was never that in that realm either.
Right.
So I always liked to draw realistic, but I never liked that over-rendered look. So the Archie style was a perfect fit for
awesome. Do you have a favorite thing that you've ever done with Archie? Maybe if a certain issue or storyline or a collaboration or something at some point?
Well, there's a lot of things. Through the years, every 4 or 5 years, there's something that kind of pops out that I really like. That really, working with Dan DeCarlo was great because I got to work with him in my early years there, and he was a good mentor. He really showed me what to do. As far as projects go, I worked on the first Veronica solo book, which was a lot of fun. That was a big thing to work on my own comic. And through the years, there's always been characters that I've created. Created Kevin Keller about 10 years ago.
Yeah,
he was the first gay character at Archie, and that was sort of a big splash, and I was proud of that. Love Showdown was a big. It was a storyline we did back in the early 90s, and I worked on that with Bill Gollier, and that was basically a storyline where Archie was going to choose between Betty and Veronica, and this was before social media.
Right.
It got such media attention. The morning shows, Entertainment Tonight, everybody just gravitated to this this story. We had never seen anything where we got a lot of media attention for anything.
Right.
So that was a really weird thing that happened. But it was kind of the beginning of what happens now with social media. Now when you an event, it gets covered on on all your platforms. But then it was just weird seeing that because it was all newspapers and television still.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Archie, permeates the pop culture in North America so much that anything like that going on in the comic, it always elicits a lot of outside attention from the media.
It does, and that's why when we just did a simple storyline, Archie's finally going to choose between Betty and Veronica, or actually the storyline was that he's going to choose someone different than Betty and Veronica. That's what the story was. It actually ended up being Cheryl Blossom. Then when we did the Archie Wedding back in like 2008, like that was huge because like, oh my God, Archie's going to choose. So it shows you that Archie really is a part of people's psyche because they grew up with it. So when Archie gets married, it's like somebody getting married. He's like a part of our culture.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any questions for Dan, we'll just have you guys ask it in the comments. I'll throw it up on screen, and we can run the question by Dan. In the meantime, I have a question for you about Die Kitty Die.
Sure.
Die Kitty Die, it's been a successful independent project for you over the last little while.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through how you came up with the idea, and kind of the process involved in creating the character and the stories around her.
Well, the storyline started when Fernando Ruiz and I were on a trip to a convention. We're going to Dallas, actually, and we were sitting on the plane taking notes about like what kind of comic would we want to create. We grew up on a lot of old Harvey comics. Mm-hmm. You see a lot of Harvey influence in there, and then we have like some like superhero references. But the basic premise of Kitty was she's a comic book character in the storyline.
Right.
And her sales have dropped, and their publisher doesn't know what to do. So they decided they're just going to kill her off and get as much attention as they can get out of it. But in our storyline, the comic characters are sort of real. They are real. So they basically recruit their other characters to try and kill her. So it becomes sort of like, I guess I compare it to like a Roadrunner cartoon where they're always trying to kill her, but nobody ever has any luck.
Right.
So that's like the basic premise of how the storyline started. That was like the premise of the first issue. So the second issue, we kind of just followed the same theme and brought her to Hollywood, where they were going to make a movie about her whole story from the first series. And they're trying to kill her off then too. So and then the third series, Heaven and Hell, she actually dies, and then she of course goes to heaven and goes to hell. So we see both versions of what happens to her.
Yeah.
And this one is just a silly outer space story. She gets thrust into outer space. So we have a good twist ending on this one too. So we always try to leave with a little twist.
We won't spoil it here.
No.
I got a few questions coming in for you from Facebook and YouTube. So William James asks, Archie artwork is no longer inked by hand. Mm-hmm. It's all digital. How long has that been the way that it happens, and does it make for a faster finished product?
All right, thanks, William. Yeah, I know William. I see him at conventions. He's cool. Well, Archie is a lot of the Archie art is still inked by hand.
Okay.
So some of the stuff is done digitally. Like I've inked a few things digitally, but for me, it's faster to ink by hand because I'm old school. Plus, if you're like me and you like to sell original art, you have to sort of do it by hand because you can't sell digital art originally.
That's great point.
So no, we still do most of the inking by hand, and we actually still do a good amount of lettering by hand too.
Wow.
People don't realize that. Jack Morelli, who letters almost all of our books, is like this really great letterer, and he still I still send him the stories. He still letters them by hand, and then they get inked, just like the old-fashioned way.
That's amazing.
Some of the newer stuff, like some of the 32-page books, like some of the newer artists do it digitally too. So there's more of that, but we definitely still do a fair amount old school.
So if we see Jack's name on a book, we know that it's more than likely been.
Well, he also does digital lettering too, but he does probably. I would guess probably half and half. He probably does half the stuff by hand and half the stuff digitally. So he's a man of all trades for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gary on YouTube is asking if you have any opinion on Afterlife with Archie and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina properties. So the Archie horror line. Yeah,
I love them. I love the Afterlife comic. I thought it was great. Sabrina too, and I've been watching Sabrina on Netflix. I'm behind. I have another season and a half to go of that, but yeah, I love that stuff. I like the stuff. I like, I even though I'm more classic in what I do, I still enjoy all the different versions of Archie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What was it like for you seeing a character that you created like Kevin Keller becoming a character that is being now acted out on television? What's that like?
It's cool. It's weird at first because you're like,
Yeah.
wait, it's like weird seeing like your character brought to life. But no, it's really neat. It's really fun. And also there's been some other characters I've created at Archie who have popped up in Riverdale too, which is interesting. Like Ginger Lopez and Jelly Bean, Jughead's sister. Right. I created her. But it's really neat. It's just you don't really expect to see it, and I really like the actor who plays Kevin. I liked what they've done with the character, so that's always good too.
Awesome. Some questions coming in about like upcoming shows and stuff for that, like that for you. I guess given the times that we live in, everything is changing day by day. And Garen here is asking about Tampa Comic Con in July. Have you gotten any word on Tampa?
Well, I'm still scheduled to be there.
Yeah.
So if they have it, I assume I will go. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Right.
I think it's a smaller show, so maybe in my head I'm thinking that probably the smaller shows they have a chance of pulling it off.
Yeah.
You can social distance at a show that's not San Diego.
Sure.
So yeah, if it happens, I hope to go there. I hope to be there.
How do you think this is how do you think this is going to affect conventions going forward? I mean, you attend a lot of conventions over the course of a year.
Yeah.
And like you said, the bigger ones are going to have some logistical challenges in terms of just being able to maintain 6 feet between people. How do you see that all playing out in the future? I know you're not a convention organizer, but as someone who goes to a lot of them,
I mean, I'm sure we'll get back there at some point. It all depends on what happens nationally. Like, will they have a vaccine for this or a therapy? Will the spread? I mean, the spread seems to be managing right now, but where it's all a guessing game. I'm assuming, just from my point of view, I can see them wheeling out the small shows. I can see them doing like a show with 1,000 or 2,000 people in a big area. Shows with 100,000 people are going to be a challenge.
Right.
But it all depends on where we are. Like, there's like 3 or 4 different phases of opening, things up. So I know like even with phase 2 or 3, they're not even allowing concerts or anything in convention centers. So it's not even a matter of whether there's no choice in the matter if the law says you can't. But the law seems to be pretty flexible too in some areas too. Like some governors open up their area, some don't. So it could be very different in 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of in my head. I'm just sort of like I know July is like Comic-Con got canceled. Almost everything in July got canceled. They're starting to move into August now. I think the real test will be to see what happens with Fan Expo.
Yeah.
I love Fan Expo.
I mean, being that we're based in the Greater Toronto area here at Stadium, we're really looking forward to word on Fan Expo and what's going to happen with that as well. And
I mean, I would love it. This is one of my favorite shows if they could do it. Maybe do it with maybe like 50% attendance, or do maybe there may be ways to do it, but again, you guys are a little ahead of the curve than we are up there.
Right.
So, there may be ways of doing it, but I know, I think like the Tampa show, I know there's like a show in Ottawa in September. I think those shows are maybe realistic, because they're not like 100,000 shows.
And it could be a really good opportunity for promoters of smaller shows to really, in the same way that we're kind of trying to fill the void of Free Comic Book Day here today with what we're doing digitally with you, Dan. Maybe there's opportunity for smaller promoters, if they are allowed to operate, to kind of fill that need for more shows, right?
I think it's a great opportunity for small shows. I really do. I think there's a lot of shows, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people that are fans that they're used to. It may be a great opportunity to produce more smaller shows and to grow some of these other shows. So it could be a real opportunity. It could also be an opportunity for more store signings and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
because that's an area where you can sort of, distance yourself and be careful. So there may be opportunities that come out of this. It's just, until we're like over the hump right now, But,
Are you nervous at all about going back to conventions, given everything that's happened?
No, I mean, I shouldn't say no. I mean, I guess I'll know when when I'm at that point.
Sure.
I personally, I think as for me personally, I think I wouldn't want to like give the virus to anyone.
Yeah.
I think I already had it. It was never confirmed, but at the end of February, beginning of March, I had this like really weird week of high temperatures, and I'm pretty sure I had it. So maybe I've already am immune to it, or maybe not. I don't know.
I certainly hope so. Right? Like
I think it's like everything. I think you want to be precautious, and you want to take the precautions to be safe. But you also want to get out there again and open things up too. So I think there's a way of being responsible, in a way of getting back into like normality.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, strange times indeed. And I mean, as someone who's working in an industry that's shut down right now, it certainly seems like you've managed to keep yourself busy, Dan, with everything that's going on.
Well, knock on wood, yeah. I was when it was convention got canceled, I just sort of would announce, I'll do commissions from home, and so far so good. People contact me for commissions, and so I enjoy that.
That's good.
But yeah, I can't complain, because there's a lot of people and it's a tough time for a lot of people, and
yeah.
So I really can't complain.
William James, your friend William, there's asking, how long does it take you to finish a typical 22-page book if you're working on a typical comic issue?
Right. Well, if that's all I was doing, that's a good way of putting it, because there's usually so many distractions. Like usually I'm doing covers, or I'm writing a story. So a lot of times I get taken away and do things in bits and pieces.
Right.
Also, just to draw a 22-page book straight, I mean, I could probably do, on a good day, 3 pages.
Okay.
Pencils. Not complete art, but pencils, like tight pencils.
Right.
So maybe if I was just working straight 7 days a week, I could probably do a 22-page book in maybe 7 or 8 days.
Oh wow.
But again, that's not including if I were to ink and color it would be a whole different story. I'm a really slow inker, so probably inking would take me just as long to do that. But yeah, and then covers are faster. Like a cover, I can usually do a complete covers. I usually pencil, ink, and color it, and do the whole thing. I can usually do a cover in a day. Usually a full cover in a day.
Wow. And like, is there anything in comics that you haven't had a chance to work on yet that you'd really like to work on?
I mean, there's always things. There's always things you want to work on. I love, superhero stuff. I was lucky as I got to work on Archie Meets Batman 66, which is a big dream of mine, to work on anything related to Batman, especially Batman 66. So, I guess the one way I get fulfilled is when we do these Archie crossovers, because I get to do work on projects I normally wouldn't work on.
Right.
With Archie. So like when we did Archie Meets Kiss, I was a big fan, of course, growing up. So that was a great crossover. Batman 66 was super fun. We just did Archie Meets the B-52s, which I'm a huge B-52s fan, so that was really cool. So and then coming up, we had to kind of put it on the sideline while the pandemic's going on, but we're doing Archie Meets Flash Gordon.
Oh, nice.
So I did the cover for that. I finished about 12 pages. It's gonna be a 40-page story. So I will hopefully be resuming that as the summer progresses and we get back onto the things get rolling with the stores and Diamond and all that.
Man, these Archie kids get to meet a lot of people.
It's crazy. Crazy, yeah.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you for taking part in this today and agreeing to come on with us and chat about what you've been up to. I know the people watching have really appreciated having you on today. And I really want to stress to everybody, If you're not following Dan already on Instagram and Twitter, he posts some awesome stuff there. It's at Parent Daniel.
Yep.
And danparent.com is the website, and diekittydi.com is where you can go for any of the store-related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And remember to check out the Archie website as well, where Dan is selling, he's doing custom head sketches there in color, and they look fantastic.
Thanks.
Dan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and I'll hopefully see you in person soon.
Hopefully we see you at Fan Expo.
Sounds good.
All right, Dan. Take care. All right, everybody. That was Dan Parent, Archie Comics legend and creator on Die Kitty Die. So happy to have Dan as part of the show today, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the chance to see what Dan's been up to during all this. He's a busy man, certainly any time of the year, and he's certainly been quite busy during the COVID-19 outbreak, and he's bringing a lot of joy and happiness with the stuff that he's putting out there in the world. So thanks, Dan, for that. And guys, I am going to take a break. 2 o'clock is when you're going to see me again. Let's just go over what's going to be going on at 2. We've got our graded comics sale. So if you're interested in slabbed books, you'll see us at 2 o'clock for that. And then at 3 o'clock, we've got Agnes joining us. We're going to talk with Agnes. She, of course, DC Superhero Girls and My Little Pony are some well-known properties that you might be aware of that Agnes has worked on. We're also going to talk about some kid stuff then. 4 o'clock, we're going to have a key issue and variant sale, part 2 of that. 5 o'clock, we're going to meet Marcus Toe, and he's going to do a live sketch giveaway. And 6, we're going to do the wrap-up, plus do a J. Scott and Archerm sale. Guys, this is been really fun so far. Thank you so much. I'm going to take a break. We'll see you guys all at 1 o'clock. Go grab a bite. Go grab a drink. We'll see you in about 22 minutes. 24 minutes.